Hey kids, it's time for Drawing with Bo. That's me.
Well, how's it going, everyone? We're back with another Drawing with Bo. How fun is this? I bet you didn't think you'd see another one of these for a while. I was pretty impressed with how many people really did give it a shot, and a lot of people said, it was a little hard for me, but I'd love to see you do this, I'd love to see you do that, I'd love, and I've got some ideas. Obviously, we'll maybe do a whitetail or a pronghorn. Someone said elk in the future. Maybe we'll try to do one of those as well. But because we did, a mammal, bighorn last time, I thought maybe we do a fish today. So I've got it all broken up. Okay, if you look down at the little time thing, you should see that in the very beginning, it's going to be for beginners. And then in the middle, it's going to be for intermediate people. And then at the very end, I'm going to teach you some stuff that, you don't learn until like college and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's what we're going to be going into today. As you can see right here, we have a sockeye salmon right here. And then when we go into intermediate, it's going to be pretty much the same thing, but I'm going to be teaching you some concepts. I'd say if you're like between the ages of like, 5 to 12, maybe stick with the beginner series. If you go from like 12 to 18 maybe, or maybe even 16, you can do the intermediate kind of parts. And if you're really kind of interested in art, and you want to do like 16 plus, age-wise, maybe go to the end and you can kind of watch that whole thing as we try to do something a little bit more difficult. I think I've got another one here. Yeah, something like that too. So one of these kind of things has more perspective, more interesting look, I think anyway, but also more difficult to draw. So anyway, let's stop talking about it. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And let's get into the beginners part here. Alright, well, hello all the beginners out there. This is going to be fun. When you're starting out drawing, you may be thinking, I want it to look just like this drawing right here, which isn't mine, of course. None of these pictures are mine. I just want to be flat out and tell all of you this. But the practical thing is, it's not going to look like this, right? I mean, to draw something that looks like this and color it that way, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of experience. And if you're between the ages of 5 and 12 and stuff like that, just realize that whatever you come up with most likely won't look like this. And that's totally fine because you're just trying to have fun, right? You're drawing pictures, you like salmon, you like animals and whatnot. I was in your shoes all those years ago. And so right now, we're just going to be drawing this salmon, having some fun, and try to get as close to it as possible. And I'm going to give you kind of the steps on how I would approach it so that you can think of it that way when you're coming to draw a salmon like this or a deer or anything in the future. So here we go. We got our sockeye salmon here. Just to get an idea of how long this thing is and really just understanding the size of the whole fish, what I really like about this, and I'm going to make another layer here. What I really like about this is this vertical or horizontal line. Goodness gracious, we're starting off strong. This horizontal line, you see this horizontal line going all the way through? Isn't that fantastic? It's going to make it so much easier to kind of lay out the rest of the fish if we can all base it off of that little horizontal line. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to use that same size right there, and we're just going to draw a horizontal line, right? 2 points. We got 1 point right here. We got another point way over here, and we're just gonna, just draw something in between, right? We don't want to scribble a whole bunch, but if we're real light with our pencil marks, we don't want to do anything too dark because it'll really show up on our salmon later on. But if we keep it nice and light, then we can kind of use that later on. And then what you can kind of see is that, it's got we've got like this much room. You can even, that's what you see artists in movies and stuff using their thumb because they're trying to base the size of something off their thumb. So we can kind of see this line here just from top to bottom, and so we can kind of just do a little line That's all it is. We've just made one little horizontal T, haven't we? And now, I mean, it's honestly quite simple. You know, we've got a very similar line on this side. We're just gonna draw a little line on this side. So now we've got an eye, correct? It looks like a sideways eye. Okay. And now we can kind of see that it's just doing this fun curve, right? It's kind of going like this, like zoop, and then it goes down. Goes big old hump in the beginning, and then it goes down, right? And then down here we got, it's a much larger hump, right? It goes up like that. So we're gonna do that too. Zoop, zoop. Like these sound effects I'm doing. So there we go. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? We just got one big curve up top, and we got one big curve down the bottom. Now you can see that they're obviously not the same curve. They're not symmetric, right? This one was a lot bigger, a lot fatter. On this one, the hump came quick, and then it sloped down right afterwards. And that's how we can kind of keep that belly from the top on that sockeye. From there, obviously, we just got a little tail on this side, but you can always see with fish, they always have this kind of rounded, you know, it rounds off on the end here. And then they have that triangular tail, right? Little triangle tail, but it's not a flat triangle tail, though that might help you figure out, you know, the shape of it. But it kind of goes like this, right? Kind of meets right there in the middle. Like if we kept going with this horizontal line, that's where it would go. Meet right in the middle. And there we go. We got our body, we got our tail, and now all we have are some fins in the head. So we could go ahead. We could go ahead with the head, or we could draw in the fins. And really, I mean, you could go either way. We just know that we have a little fin on this side, right? Kind of goes up like this. Real simple. Something like so. And then we have a little fin down here. There we go. We got our little dorsal fin there. We have this little tiny fin over here, which they cut off if they're farm raised. I'm not sure how easy it would be to farm raise a salmon, though. They need to travel upstream, right? But there we go. We've got the very basics of our salmon. Very beginner-ish, nothing very difficult about it, was it? We just went in there and drew it. Alright, well, now that we've got all that figured out, we haven't done any details, have we? Maybe some of you have already gone in and then, you know, drawn in, oh, it's got some little, I don't even know what they're called, little lines anyway, right? Got some lines here. You can draw those in if you want to. That's fun. It's always fun to draw little details like this, isn't it? Got the tail as well. Draw in the lines so it looks more like a fish. There you go. We got the workings of a salmon here, though we still need draw in this fin right here. There we go. Still need that head, right? This looks like a salmon that's met its end, right? Getting ready to end up on your dinner table. But let's go ahead. Now, the way I would look at this is you can see this real nice curve right here, right? So I would just take this curve up right from the belly, and I just continue that curve up, right? Because we can see it right there. Now on this end, you can see it's got the opposite curve. It's actually concave. That's probably a vocab word. Convex and concave. But you can see here, the curve goes in the opposite direction. Well, technically, it goes in the same direction as the last curve. So we were just gonna draw a little curve like this, aren't we? Same little curve. All right, and you can see here, it kind of ends right here, doesn't it? We're right around there, aren't we? We're really close. So, this is where it might get a little difficult, right? This mouth isn't the most simple shape, is it? It's really not. Let's go ahead. We're just going to make it up as we go, right? This mouth kind of goes into here. Then, whoa. Now, this kind of rounds off on the end here, goes back into the mouth, and then goes down. Like so. Hopefully yours looks somewhat like that. I'm channeling Bob Ross best I can. So now we're just having fun again, right? We just add in details. You know, he's got some teeth. Let's add in some teeth. Oh yeah, he's got the Sockeye has these real sharp teeth for battling other Sockeye, right? He has the eye there. Ooh, let's throw in an eye. He's got, ooh, he's focused. He's looking for other, well, he's looking for the females, right? Let's add in his gills. It actually goes past this line here just a bit. Probably not that much, but yeah, good enough. Good enough. And this, his top jaw, actually kind of does one of these things, doesn't it? Where it kind of goes in and does a weird shape right here and actually goes right underneath his eye. Anyway, does something like that. There we go. A very simple. But you know what? If you showed this to someone who knew fish, I guess the red would probably help. But they might be able to tell, well, they'd definitely be able to tell that it's a salmon. But if they had color, they'd probably be able to tell that it was a sockeye too. And we really didn't put a whole lot of work into this, did we? Stuff down there too. Well, top notch. I think that's gonna do it, everyone. This horizontal line is a bit darker. You could make that a little bit darker. And my art teacher used to always tell me, anywhere you see a corner, darken that corner. It can really help. Helps more than you think anyway. You look at your drawing and you think, oh, where is there a corner? I'll add in some darkness there. And before you know it, it looks way better than what it did. I thought he was crazy when he said it, but always good to remember little tricks like that. Can really come in handy. But there you go. Top notch, everybody. I think it turned out pretty fun, don't you? His tail's a bit longer, I think. We didn't quite get the size, right? You can see where his top fin there, we're way off. You know, our salmon's bigger. Is the only thing you could take away from that. Ours is a trophy salmon. Whoever drew this other salmon, you know, ours is bigger. Haha, gotcha. You know, that's the thing about art. Doesn't need to be exact. There's always a story behind it. Anywho, I think that's going to wrap it up for the beginner one here. I hope it was helpful. I hope you drew something fun, and if you did, make sure you post it in the art section of the Discord. Would love to see what you came up with, and give it another try. If you think the first one didn't turn out too well, draw another one right next to it. You know, give it some scars. Ooh, he's fought some other fish or something, or a big old grizzly has come by and tried to snatch him up or something, and so he's got claw marks on him or so, or he's got a hook stuck in him, you know, where someone had tried to hook him and he broke the line off or something like that. You know, there's always fun little stories you can tell. Anywho, would love to see what you come up with, and I think we're gonna move into the intermediate one now. Alright, all you intermediates out there, this is gonna be fun. I think that this ought to be pretty good for someone that's, you know, someone who's interested in art maybe, or someone between the ages of 12 and 16, 18, somewhere like that. Where you can kind of picture it a little bit differently, understand a few concepts that maybe some younger kids wouldn't understand. It's really not all that much. I just, you know, when you're young, you just want to have fun and just draw something. You don't want to be thinking about shapes and stuff like that. Anywho, yeah, we're going to start out very similar to the beginner one, so if you did watch that, then this is going to be, you know, a little bit of a redundancy, but if not, then this is all new, and I'm just talking about something you've never heard of before. So here we go. Like I said in the beginner one, what I really like about this sockeye, and what you could probably find in many other fish, is this really nice horizontal line moving through the salmon. And it's going to be really nice to use that when we're trying to picture how to draw this salmon. And what you can also do is kind of get an idea, if you're looking at your image, you can kind of get an idea of how long this line needs to be. Am I right? And I think I might take it right at the beginning of this tail and just kind of take it down. And from there, I'm just going to draw a horizontal line, right? Just, 2 points basically is how I like to picture it. And I try my best to connect those 2 points with one nice stroke. But it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes I have to try a second stroke. And at that point I just think, oh, maybe the first one wasn't too bad. And I just go, you know what, let's just stick with it. So there we go. We got 2 mediocre strokes connecting the 2 dots. And now we're thinking, okay, what are we missing? What are we missing? Well, very similar to the beginner one. We can kind of see where this tail, when it comes to an end there, where I guess the tail fin connects to the body. You can kind of see, this creates this kind of half circle shape and connects to the body. This is probably a very backwards way to picture it, but I just wanted a nice little end cap right there. Now on this other side, you can use your thumb if you want to try to see how big it is or something like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to picture this as one big triangle, right? This is where we are bringing in those shapes. Oh boy, I tell you what, the first time someone told me about thinking about something as shapes, I thought they were loony. But now I understand it. Whenever I look at something, I think, okay, there's a triangle, there's a circle, this is one big oval right here. Something like that. So we're just gonna connect this, we're gonna throw this out here, like so. I like that. We can always go in later and, erase it if we need to. If we do it nice and light, we don't have to worry about it. But from here, what I'm thinking about is how can I get this curve as close to the actual thing as possible. And I'm dividing up this fish, right? I'm dividing it up, and I'm thinking, okay, these are the marks. These are the marks that I'm going to try to replicate. Am I right? We have this nice horizontal line down the middle, correct? And then we have lines in between, so we can draw lines. Draw lines. Lines, 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 lines. And more lines. Just that one a little bit there. Okay. Now that we have that, we can kind of picture, okay, let's do one section at a time here. And we have the top of the head. Have the top of the head up here. Let's go up. We're going up. We're still rising up on the second section. And we're starting to round off. We're starting to go a little flat by the time we get to the third section, right? Now, on this fourth section, we're starting to go down. Starting to go down. It's a slant. It's subtle, but it's still going down. Now, still going down, still going down. And by this last section, we're starting to level off and we're connecting to that tail piece. You can kind of see where I was going with getting that tail piece there, so I knew what to connect to. But you can kind of see nice big hump in the beginning, and then start sloping down and connecting to the tail at the end. Nice. Nice. So really, I mean, the section sort of thing just kind of helps you realize, if you're going up and if you're starting to level off, and then when you're starting to go down and when you're meeting with your tail piece here. So on this bottom part, we have bottom of our head, and it's very It's a slope, but it's not much, is it? It's still going down, but by the third section here, we're starting to level off. We're going down, but the third section starting to level off. The fourth section is pretty much the same as the third, but going up a little bit. And now it's a very shallow slope. Till we get, here's 4, here's 5, here's 6. At 6, it makes a dramatic change, doesn't it? All of a sudden, it just goes like straight up, not straight up, but it makes a dramatic curve. And not only that, now we're going the opposite direction. Now we're curving this way. So you can see there, we got the two different curves, where one started with a big hump and then went down. This one had a very shallow little dip here and then had a real sharp movement up. That's how we get those two different curves. This is really loose, but obviously afterwards we can go in with a little bit more detail and figure it out a little bit more, which we'll leave till the end. So, like the beginner one, I really liked how this curve really plays off the beginning, or the belly, not the beginning. So we're just going to take it very similarly. You can see our curve here. You all have the luxury, if you're doing this on a paper, you all have the luxury of turning it. I always miss that about drawing on paper. I could turn the page to work with my hand as much as I wanted. I can't do that when I draw on a tablet. So just understand that this is not me at my best. Making excuses. Alright, so I made that a little short here, so we're going to extend that. Extend it out till about right there, and I'll go into my eraser and erase it a little. We can't all be perfect, can we? And then, very similarly, the same direction, shockingly. You know, you expect this top part to keep going down, and you know, when it's not the mating season, that's probably what happens. But because this is this big old buck and he's got this crazy dome on him right now, he's got a very similar curve to the bottom back on the top of his head. So now we're gonna curve this up. So let's curve this. Start at the top, curve down. And then, at the end here, we actually do like this crazy top curve. Like so. I'm going to go in with my eraser here and make a few erase. I'm going to get rid of that triangle too. It's no longer helpful to me anymore. It was nice to kind of picture where it was. Now that I don't need it, have the outlines of my face, then it's all there. And just like the beginner part, where I just pretty much said, I have no direction for the mouth here, you just make it up, that's exactly what we're gonna do. We can see where the corner of the mouth is. It's way down here. And so we're just gonna connect this bottom jaw, like so. And then, with this top jaw, it kind of goes up, doesn't it? It has like a hook. It kind of goes up a little bit and then it drops down. And so that's what we're gonna do here. Drops down, like so. May not be exactly like the drawing, but you know what? Ours just has a bigger mouth, and that's fine. And it creates this fun little mouth shape. And there's a bunch of other details on the head. Now looking at this tail here, we're going to the opposite side now. Looking at this tail here, you can see it sticks out about this far. How high is a good question. You can kind of just eyeball it, I suppose, or you can really measure it. It does look like it's a little thicker than this tail end here. You can kind of use that. You know, this is this much. We'll take that same distance up to here and then a little bit more. It's just a little bit more than that. Maybe take it up to there. And if you really wanted to get specific, well, then you could take this, you could make an X, connect those two, draw a line in between, and then you draw a line from this corner through the middle portion down to here, and where it hits the line is the exact symmetrical mark there. But now you have a bunch of lines here. But you can go in, see where that tail connects. Connect it to the corner here. Same with this. Got people texting me. Now we can go in and erase all of our lines if we want to, or keep them there, you know? Da Vinci didn't get rid of all of his lines, and he turned out to be a pretty cool dude. So do whatever you want. If you want the construction lines in there so people know how much work you put into drawing that thing, then keep them in there, by George. We have a little, it kind of goes inside, doesn't it? Goes inside, connects like so. What could that be? A little volcano almost. And then a little Pompeii down here getting destroyed. That's nice. Alright, top notch. My drawing is a little close to this salmon up here, but that's okay. I'll just have my fin's gonna run into him a little bit. But that's how salmon are, you know. Now we still have these section marks in here, which is nice because we can use them to base the fins off of. This just kind of goes up here. The fins are, you know, they're extraneous details, but I guess they need them to swim, don't they? Just throw them in here. You can use the sections to kind of figure out where they're supposed to go. This one goes here, comes up like so, has a rounded corner there. This one, you can see it starts pretty much in the middle of these two sections. And does a very slight S, right? He kind of does this sloop, very slight. Oh, a fun detail. Then goes pretty much straight up and connects. So, then we have that little anal fin, I believe it's called, maybe. Cut off. They're farm raised. A lot of fish. And then we have this fun little pectoral fin here, but we'll wait to do that till we get the rest of the face here, the head. So we have basically the top of the head here. You can kind of see where it stops right here, and then it kicks off, and stops right around here, doesn't it? Stops right around there and goes under the jaw like so. Hopefully you're not just copying me. You're looking at this salmon too, because I'm not the crazy detail guy, right? We're just drawing this salmon. We're trying to do the best that we can. We're looking at how it comes off and plays on these section marks here. So we have that. We got some little fin, little gill stuff underneath here we can throw in. Now, with that there, we can kind of see, you know, this goes down here. We have this fin that comes out. It actually goes past, if we go off the lines now, it actually goes past the second line here. So we can extend this fin out to here, and then have it go down like so. And there we go. There we go. See there. Well, top notch. So now you can go in and do what you want. You want to add in some details. Throw in some details. Of course, we still haven't put in the eye, so I'm just getting ahead of myself. But yeah, really pay attention to the way the fins or the lines come off the fins. because that will really help with telling exactly, you know, you paid attention to the fish and you drew it that way. You know, and you look at this fin right here, good example, and you have this kind of thing coming off like that, and then it kind of connects like this. You know, you can see how the lines, you know, they come off like this, but then they start coming more, they follow, right? They're like a fan or something, because they can all lay down flat. If you were to just come in here and throw in the lines like this, that doesn't make much sense. You can't picture how that collapses like a fan. No, it has to kind of follow the curve, doesn't it? It has to follow the curve so that you can picture this thing collapsing, you know, against the body. Because that's how their fins can work, you know, that's how they do it. So as we're putting in these lines, just realize that you just kind of have to follow the curve so that, you know, that fin can collapse if it needs to, if the fish needs it to or something like that. And we're just gonna keep doing that with all the fins here. You can even, you know, rough up the edges of these fins so they don't look so sharp, right? They look wild fin. And we'll throw in some lines on this thing, very similar, and that they follow a curve like so. And it's kind of got a, I'm gonna throw in like a line in here to kind of show how it breaks up like that. It's kind of a fun detail. I'll rough up the edge here like so. And this might be something from my industrial design days, but I do like having this kind of darker outline. Have a darker outline on the fish, and then you can kind of do whatever you want on the inside. But that darker outline kind of helps show where that fish is, where it starts and stops, right? Good deal. Feel free to darken this fin up too. If it's in front of the fish, the darker an object is, I guess the closer it's gonna feel to you, right? So if this fin is in front of the outline, which it is, because the pectoral fin sticks out, and the back and the belly are going to be further away than this pectoral fin, and make sure this pectoral fin is just a little bit darker, you know? Make sure it sticks out just a little bit more so that it properly looks like it's closer to you. And then I guess we're just going to go in and add some detail on this fish. We have this bottom and top jaw here. It's got some teeth on it. You can add those teeth in if you want to. Add those teeth in there. He's got some gnarly teeth, does he not? Throw in those teeth and we can kind of see this eyeball, which is just before the end of this mouth. We'll throw this eyeball in here. Well, and I'll tell you this, something I really like to do with eyeballs. I like to keep a little light going into one of the ends. I just think it gives them a little bit more life, don't you think? And then we can see how there's this kind of mark that goes like that, and there's this kind of curve that goes up, and this goes down like so, like that, and something, 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 and boom, done. Now you can get as fancy as you want here. Something I really like about this, guys, you can clearly see the 3D effect on this fish. I mean, you can see he put this highlight in here like this. Put this highlight in here like this, like it's a car or something like that. Which, I mean, these fish are hydrodynamic. You know, it's kind of similar to an aerodynamic car or something like that. So if you wanted to throw in, you know, some lines to show that, you know, throw that in there, bro. Throw that line in there. You can kind of see that curve, that fish. And if you want to do some light shading, you could if you wanted to. Let's see here. How would I do that? I'm looking at how he shades this face here, and that's kind of where I would start. I think I'd go in something like that, and then maybe make it a little darker in here. Just throw in some shading like this. But the fact is, sometimes it's easy to get carried away with shading, and you look back and you just think, should have just kept it the way it was, which can happen, you know. That's okay. We live and we learn, don't we? Keep this going. Come back up. It's just to help people looking at it so that they can tell what they're looking at, right? And if you had some red crayons or something like that, well, you could go in and add in some red crayon. I don't even have a crayon. Let's see here. See what we can do. It's like a crayon. It's kind of like a crayon. Throw in some red, and now you're really starting to get that sockeye look. It's amazing if you don't know like much about color and stuff like that. Even as an adult, you can kind of just start scribbling with crayons and stuff. But it's if you understand color a little bit better and like darker colors and stuff like that, you can use a crayon a little bit lighter on top, and then on the bottom, you know, you can go in a lot darker and stuff like that. And before you know it, you know, even something done with crayon looks a lot better than it would have if it was done somewhere else, I guess, or without anything. So, anyway, a little bit of crayon or something really tells that sockeye story there, does it not? Sockeye have really lovely red on them. And, you know, when you're doing art and you're able to do something a little fun, like drawing a salmon or, you know, something outside, you know, it's fun to do something. Fun to do something outdoorsy, but also kind of artsy, you know? Anyway, yeah, how about that? Turned out looking okay, didn't it? With just 2 colors. Yeah, we can even put some of this on the fin. Tail on the back. Top notch! Well, there we go. A simple little sockeye. Not too shabby. I like how it turned out. Pretty simple. You learned some concepts, right? We can see how this the beginner one compares, right? We didn't do so much concept stuff on that one, and it turned out to be a little bit bigger, but overall not too shabby. You can see the curves are fairly similar, but not as accurate. Overall, just similar, but just not the same. I think it turned out kind of fun, though. Anywho, lastly, we're gonna go into the expert. Not so much expert, but you know, someone who really enjoys art and maybe wants to learn some fun concepts. So that's what we're gonna be going into next. Alright, how's it going, all you not intermediate and beginner people out there? Going into part 3 now. I really like this image, but it's just gonna be difficult to do, even for me to explain to you how it's gonna be done, because it's not on a straight line, it's on a curved line. Versus with the other one, we're gonna be able to do a straight line. This one goes something like something like that. And if you know this whole concept, then it's not that big of a deal. Like, you can figure it out. It's the same thing, but it's gonna be on a curve, like so. And then you would just go up and do the same thing on a curve. But the other one's gonna be a lot simpler, so that's what we're gonna do. However, if you wanted to do something a little bit more difficult, and like I said, I love this image. I think having that head up there with the teeth and everything, super cool. But we're gonna do one a little bit easier. We're gonna do this guy. I think it's a nice picture. You know, it's got the a little bit of what is that, focal length or something like that, where you have the head up close and then it gets, you know, smaller as it goes back a little bit. Has that perspective look that, you know, draws people in with your drawings. So that's what we're gonna go with. Let's go ahead, change this guy, or make him a little bit smaller up here so that we have room for our drawing. I'm gonna keep him like that so we can hopefully see him still. Top notch. Alright, so the biggest thing, I'm gonna make this a little bit lighter so I can draw it over top. Didn't do that with the beginner or intermediate, but here we are. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna show you this thing. Just like the other intermediate and beginner ones, I was talking about how I love this this lateral line going down the side of the sockeye. It's just, it makes it all so simple because you can see that exact angle, right? And I mean, I'm gonna try my best. I'm probably gonna mess it up. I'm gonna try my best to just draw that angle, right? Something like that. Doesn't really need to be that long because we're gonna need to have room for the head. But you can kind of see how I have that line there, and I have the two arrows. Okay, now the thing about doing this, what I'm going to be showing you, right, it's about perspective. If you don't know anything about perspective, it's going to be a little bit difficult. To give you a quick crash course into perspective, if you have two different points here, right, with the horizontal, your horizon line in between, if you were to draw a line and then connect the line to those dots, you will create a perspective view of wherever it is. You can connect lines over here, like so, and connect back to those dots, and this dot, and before you know it, you have a cube in perspective. This is called 2-point perspective. Okay, because there's 2 points. 1, 2. Then you have your floating cube. You can do the same thing. You can have your line over here and draw lines to that and whatnot. You could have freaking... No, it's the same exact thing. You have your cube right here. And as you get better at perspective, you don't always need to draw the lines to it because you can just kind of picture it in your head, even if it's not exact. And that's what we're going to be kind of doing today. And I'm going to help you out because I'm going to draw on the actual image so that you can picture it yourself. But as you're looking at other things, you're looking at a glass on your desk, or I don't know, this Altoids tin or something like that, you can kind of picture this construction the same way. So essentially, what we're looking at here is we have this line here. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. We have this line here, and it is on a plane, correct? It's not just a line, it's like this, right? It is a plane in space, and connected in between are these corners. This fish exists on this plane. If that makes any sense at all. Now you understand why so many artists do drugs. And you have a line in between there, correct? And right here you can see how this, you know, he even goes up like that, and you can pay attention to that if you want to, or you don't have to. But essentially, all we're looking at is how this fish follows this plane, and then we're gonna be drawing it, right? So we can see, we can connect, we can do this bottom curve, like so. Then we can do this top curve. Now it goes up like so and connects with this. And so now we have our 2 points of plane, right? This part is on the back side That's the back. And then this part over here is on the front. I'll make it darker so that you can see it a little bit easier. A little 3D. That's the back. You can picture that at all. So we kind of have a cross, right? That's what we have right here. And what we're picturing is how this fish, if it was cut into slices, what would that look like? You know? What I assume is that it would look something like this. Kind of go up like so. Kind of go like this. It gets kind of weird here because he's holding it with his hand. But it does something like that. And there we go. We have a slice. We have a single slice. And basically, what you're going to be thinking about is this slice, but also, you know, this slice, and this slice, and this slice, and this slice. And as you put all of those slices together, you're gonna not only have like a fish that looks, you're gonna have a fish that looks correct, but it's gonna be able to give you an idea of how to put value, how to put like shading on that fish, how light hits it, because it's gonna be 3D. You're only gonna see what you see in the image, but because you have the entire thing here, because we can keep this line straight. Let's see if I can do it here. This isn't gonna be exact because I'm just kind of throwing it on here. Like so. And maybe this plane, you know, it's the same thickness all the way through, and that's probably not the way to do it with a fish, because it stays, a fish kind of is fat up front and then it gets skinny as it goes back to its tail, right? So this plane should probably be a different shape. It should be a fish shape, right? So it should probably get skinny as it goes down here. And then get wider as it comes up to the body or something like that. So I'm just gonna throw this in haphazardly. We're gonna do something like that. Gonna do something like this. Like so. And as you can see here, we now have the makings of 3D fish. And if you're following along, you also have the makings of a 3D fish, don't you? So essentially, that's what we're gonna do, but without the image. Which is gonna be so much fun. So you can see it keeps going here, and it goes down like so, and curves back up. But of course, we don't know that because we haven't drawn all this stuff. So I've lost many of you, but if you're still around, then right on, man. You are killing it. So top notch. Okay. Yeah, and this would go something like this. It looks like it curves something. Yeah. Quick and dirty, but you get the idea. Top notch. Now we're gonna do that without the image. This is gonna be so fun. But what I want you to take away from this, and why this is useful at all, is because if you draw something flat, then you can do the same thing, right? These are your planes. right? You have your horizontal plane, which goes all the way through. Then you have your verticals, go through. And if you did the intermediate or the beginning, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And then, once you go in to your plane, you can see all those sections and how they should line up. So we're going to throw in some vertical lines here. I'm going to just try to go up and down as much as possible. It's so hard because I can't turn my page like you can if you have a paper. You have just regular paper. And then you can be very specific about this. There is a way to actually draw it specifically so that you can have it. But I'm not going to do that because I just think it's going to take too much time. But realize that the distance between this and this is just going to get smaller, right? Because it's going back. So it's going to get smaller as it goes back. Right? Right. Talking to myself, and that's fine. So, essentially, that's what we got right now. And we're gonna start at the front of the head, right here. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 to get to the tail. So right here we have 7, we have 1 right here. So, in between here, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines in between. Let's see if we can do it. We should probably, actually, that might be perfect. We can actually do real light. Let's just draw an X in between. Right here is gonna be our midpoint. Good to know. And then with the other two, I'm just gonna eyeball it. There's another way you can do it, but I'm just gonna do it and do it. 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have 6. So 6 and 5. Top notch. These are not the most vertical lines, but I'm trying my best. So now we have this. We gotta keep this here. Keep that. It's honestly kind of important to keep this correct. If you don't get in between correct, it's a cross, right? So then if you change your direction so that it's now like this, going backwards, if you don't get that all right, then it can end up looking kind of weird. But we're just gonna throw in some lines. Practice makes perfect, you guys. That's all I can say. Okay, so now that we have this, we can see. Oh geez. It starts out small at 7. I guess it ends small at 7. It goes up just like we were doing the intermediate one and stops right around there. And then on the bottom, I am rotating this. Haha. Take that. Past self who said they couldn't do that. And then we come up. Like so. So I'm going to use those 2 lines there. Got that line and that line, this line and this line to use on this now. Alright, so up here, we're going to start rather, it's not too high, is it? Maybe around there. Then we're going to use the entirety of this because we can't go too much lower, can we? So at 3, we've pretty much bottomed out, so I'm going to take this and bottom out at 3. Just like this kind of bottoms out at 3. And then we're going to go up slightly, pretty much level with 1, but at 5. And then by the time we get to 7, we have like gone from this up to here, which is pretty darn close to the midline. So we're going to take it to like right here. Okay. And there we go. We have the keel. The keel of our fish ship. All right. Similar to the bottom, 3 is looking at like where we top off. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna rise till I get to 3. Right? We're gonna go shoo like that, and then we're starting to go down, right, till we get to 5. So let's do that. Let's figure out where 5 is gonna be. Here's 5. Let's do a little bit shorter than the bottom. So let's do like right there maybe. So we're gonna take this. We're gonna go up and level off. And then it comes to be even on the back tail from the top and the bottom, so we're just gonna connect where we were at 5 to where we were at 7. And there we have the top and bottom of our Sockeye Salmon, similar to this photo. Like so. Isn't this fun? You never knew there was so much work to be involved in this sort of stuff. And as you get better, you don't have to do this sort of stuff because you just know it and you don't have to do it at all. But here I am, telling all of you it and trying my best to remember it because I don't do it anymore. So, here we go. Like I said, this guy's kind of holding it down there. So we're going to try our best. Let's see, so that is right around pretty much between 1 and 2 there. He's got his hands. So that's gonna throw a kink into things. That. He's holding it with his hands, maybe. Just do 2. All of 2. That's where he's got his hands. So, let's try our best recreating these slices. Am I right? So, looking at 2 here, we've got this kind of goes up. And remember, this is your midline. It goes all the way to the top. And you need to... Here, I'll even draw the entire plane. Just so that you can see it a little better. Alright, so there's your entire plane there. It's a rectangle, so you can see. And then this comes up. You've got to have the lines meet the top so that they're tangent with the top and the sides. So you can see it's tangent right here, and it's tangent at the top and at the bottom. And by tangent, I mean you have 2 points, and you can have a curve. How do I describe this? You can have a curve like so, like that. But if you were wanting it to be tangent, it would this top of the curve would have to be along this line here. This line. The point of that curve would have to meet that line to be tangent with that line. That's not helpful at all. I'm just being confusing. Okay, let's keep on going here because this is gonna be a fire anyway. We're drawing similar to the other ones. Just gonna keep on trucking along. And as we talked about, right? Fat in the middle starts to slim down at the tail. So we are going to start making these a little bit slimmer as we come to the end here, because that tail's not that fat. It's got some stuff there, but not like the belly. Am I right? And you could do the same on the other side, like you could draw the other side if you wanted to, but we're not going to see it, so there's really not a point. to doing it unless you had a fin that was on the other side, right? If we had a fin that was coming off, for instance, if you had a fin that was right here and it came down like so, well then you could draw over to the other side, draw that fin there because you know where that opposite side is, and then you could draw wherever it came down if it was necessary for it to come down. If this fin did something like this instead, then you know you could match it on the opposite side, and then you would have that little bit of fin sticking out on the bottom there, and then everything else would be garbage. You wouldn't even need the rest of this. You could just erase it, and you would know that that one little tip of the fin there is in the proper position because you measured everything out correctly. But because we don't have that on this salmon, we don't have to worry about it. But I thought I would tell you that because it is interesting information. Okay, so top notch. We have all of this stuff. We have our tail here. We can see this is one here. Now let's see where this extends. We have this coming out. This is a -1, and then this would be 2. They're not even, but I just thought I would do that. So let's just do like 1 right there, -1 right there, and -2 around here maybe. Not sure. Yeah, let's do 2 right there. I like that. So -1 and -2. Probably not going to be perfect, but we're just going to go with it. Big curve coming up here. Look at this. You know, you remember the big curve if you did the other ones. So, we got our midline coming this way. It almost meets the midline. The midline comes right here on -2. Right here on -1. And the curve comes up pretty darn close right there, really. So we're gonna take this curve and we're gonna round that sucker up. Big curve coming up. And then it kind of bends back in like so and goes back in. But up here we have the same similar curve. Look, it bottoms out at 1. Where it comes down and meets the bottom, and then it starts going up after that. So we're gonna go down. And then start to go up. Start to go up until it does something like so. Top notch. You with your little artistic mind, you can kind of see this salmon coming together and how it's all kind of matching. So there we go. This old noggin here, you can see how it does have a little bit of a dip right here, right there. So that's kind of interesting. So let's do that. Let's make sure he has that. So as this comes off the head, comes down, has that little dip there, and then it rounds off like so. I mean, it's just gonna be kind of difficult with one because we have two different parts. We have the top jaw and the bottom jaw, which we should probably draw. Looks like -1's pretty close to where this jaw stops. So let's just connect it like so. Then we're gonna take this part up. Yeah, like that. And that will kind of tell us where the jaw is, anyway. It's right there. So we can kind of do this. Bottom jaw comes out like this, and then kind of goes down. It's kind of crazy because it's kind of thicker than this headpiece. But I guess his eye is around here as well, so I guess that makes sense actually. Alright, top notch. So now we have that. And we have this. And now we can really start to add in those 3D elements. Am I right? Right? We can start making it actually look like a salmon. So if we look back up at the fin here, this fin somewhere around this line. So we're gonna add it in here. Obviously it's still following this mid line, so you can kind of see where it goes in there and follows that mid line like so. Has those little lines on it there. This back fin here comes down. This connects up like that. Next, somewhere around there. We actually do have, now that's funny that I brought it up and then didn't catch it as I was describing it, but there is two fins here. There's one fin there and there's another fin right there. So you can see here around 4 is where it comes down. So let's see here, we have, it comes down like this. You can kind of see the shape of the fin. We can kind of take some artistic liberty too. So we have this shape of the fin here. See what it actually looks like. And then on the opposite side, where it connects on the opposite side, coming down, and he must have the angle differently because his isn't. You can see the fin on the opposite side of his, but on mine you can't see the fin on it, and that's fine. Ours is just a little different. That's cool. We took some artistic liberty, right? That's what you say when you draw something that doesn't look like your original source material. I took artistic liberty. Leave me alone. I took artistic liberty. You have that hand coming up here where his fingers kind of come up like so. And then he has his pectoral fins which hang down and do something. Which connect on the other side, actually. And hang down. Where we can actually see them. That's fun. I just like to shade off backside. Dark outline to represent it's in front. And we have that gill plate there. Comes out. And the head. Top notch, everyone. This is really coming together. So, we have this part here. I'm gonna draw that back part of the mouth. See how this jaw, you can see it's got this midline. Actually, I mean it's in the middle, but it goes up and meets up here, whereas this back jaw comes up and meets up here like this, follows that sort of thing. So if that helps you out picture that at all, I hope it does. Anyway, you can see how it literally comes up like so and meets up with this plane here. Same with this one. Can't see that bottom side, but yeah. Don't you see how it's like this? This is your middle part, and then it's got this little hinge right here where he opens his mouth, and the same thing with here. You have that mid part here, you have this middle section, then you have the back side and the front side, And then before you know it, you have a little robot sockeye. Robot eye. That's essentially what we're looking at here when we do its mouth. We have the hinge on both sides. I'm looking up at my computer, hoping that I can see, but I can't see, so we're gonna have to zoom out. Let's freehand this. Something like that. And this opposite side is very similar. You can keep drawing those planes so you can see where your curves are supposed to be. You can see here, goes like that, and it comes up like so. There we go. And then with this bottom, comes in that, like that. Good deal. Everyone's following along. I'm a fantastic teacher. I know. No, sorry. Some people can just do things. Other people can teach and not do it as well. I'm just one of those people that can do things, but in teaching it, I'm just not that great, I guess. But you can see here, this eye that comes in right around here. Now, it's very important to look at the oval here, because if you mess this up, it won't look right. So realize that, you know, you have a very similar thing here. We have this cross, but up here by its eye. Okay? If you don't get this eye right, then everything is not going to look correct, because it's got to follow the same thing. I'm going to draw in this stuff to help. Hopeful anyway. There is a little bit of slope too, so it could have sloped a little bit. That's essentially where its eye is supposed to be. A big nose hole here. And then the rest of it is just decorative license. Go in, go crazy, add some teeth in there, you know. Teeth into this dude. Got his hands in here. He's holding it like so. And we don't have to have this last. We could throw in that tail there if we wanted to. There's nothing stopping us. We can do what we want. Go in like that. So what if the picture doesn't have it? We know how this fish comes together. We can do it. There we go, everybody. Before you know it, you've got a 3D sockeye salmon. Of course, you could just go in and draw this freehand if you want to, but that's like the actual drawing science behind it, where you're going in and you can see the 3D and how it comes in. And then if you wanted to, you could literally just go in underneath it with, you know, your airbrush, of course, because everyone has one of those, and you could throw in your color underneath, you know, like so. Because you know, this is your midline. That's going to be the darkest it gets. Gonna have a little bit of bounce off the bottom because there's always light bouncing off the bottom there. And then it's gonna start to get lighter as it comes up. Like so. You know what I mean? And then you could go in a little bit more and add some glossiness to him and stuff like that. So he's not gonna be perfect. I mean, there's scales and stuff reflecting light and whatnot. So who knows? Who knows? But the thing is that you had fun doing it. You hope anyway, right? We all hope. Everyone's gotta have hope. Otherwise, it's just sad. It's just sad. Anywho, everyone, I hope this was fun. I hope you learned something. If any of you are in design school, then or in illustration or something like that, this is probably really nice information to have, even though it was freaking nightmare coming from me. But I hope it was useful in some way. I hope someday maybe you're just, you're out there thinking like, oh, how am I supposed to do all this stuff? And then you think, oh, that's right. Bo gave that one weird tutorial at one time, and now I can go back and figure out how to do it. So anyway, that's it, everyone. Hopefully this was fun. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like button. I guess another draw with Bo. Always fun. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Like button, subscribe. See you all fun. Let me know down in the comments if you liked the beginner, intermediate, expert sort of thing. You don't always have to do this, especially if no one finds this expert part any use, because it does get a little into it, and a lot of people don't have to deal with that stuff. So, anywho, I thought it was fun though. It's fun to get lost. Fun to get lost in art, I think. Anywho, take care, everyone. We'll see you next time, and as always, remember, everyone,
we're one planet, one family. Game on.